What up, Dokkanners? Global maintenance is set to drop in a few short hours. So in today's video, we're going to be discussing what could be potentially coming from this maintenance period, how long it's going to be, what time it's going to be starting. And I want to provide a small little detail for the Cell Gohan situation that's been going on JP and Global. This is not some sort of game changer that means Global is getting it or anything like that, but I do want to discuss it because it is an important detail that I have failed to mention until a friend mentioned it to me recently. So let's start with the maintenance. When is this going to be starting? This is going to be starting on the 12th of January at 1800 hours. So if you look in your own game at this in-game notice, it will tell you specifically the time in your time zone. So that is obviously the easiest way to find out. But if you don't want to do that, I will tell you that it's going to be dropping 2 hours after the day's reset. So if you live in an area where it is the 12th when your reset is going to be, or if you live in a place where it'll be the 13th by the time the new day starts, then just remember whatever time that reset is, just simply add 2 hours. And when you do, that is when the maintenance will start. So for that whole maintenance period, you guys know I always like to recommend that you should burn up your stamina as much as you possibly can. Bring your stamina down to the bare bones minimum, because that way, when your game is shut down and idle during maintenance, your game will still be regaining that stamina that it's spending just standing there doing nothing. It will take the time to recover all that stamina and give you basically free stamina. That way, once you end the maintenance, you can jump back into the new content or whatever with all the stamina that you just got. So I always recommend this. If you need to, use your boosts, go to Dokkan events, go to link level boosting stages, whatever it is you got to do to burn up your stamina. A great option would be the B-Pan stage if you guys still have access to that. It's only available once per week. I don't need this anymore, so it is now going to be permanently around. I've officially retired this stage as I have literally rainbowed every iteration of the B-Pan with copies of herself. I have pulled that many characters and I have not used a single Kai. So it has been extremely fruitful for me, this event, in terms of stamina consumption, not really link levels so much, but in terms of resources and then ultimately the B-Pan. So I don't need this anymore, but if you guys need to quickly burn 100 stamina, boom, that's a great way to do it. So that is obviously something that I recommend. Hopefully you guys do that. But now let's talk about what we can expect to see, because this maintenance is going to be taking 6 hours. There's probably going to be a good chunk of stuff in this data download. So I will obviously make a video for the data download when it drops, and I will cover everything that's in there. But what can we expect to see? I think we can all pretty much agree everything that's been announced in here, we can expect to see. Super Battle Road, Giant Ape Power, Extreme Z area for Frieza Sorbet, Super Strike event renewal for the Grandpa Gohan to start. These 3 events are basically part of the upcoming LR AGL Golden Frieza drop. So when that unit inevitably arrives, these events are dropping with it, because there's really not much else for that celebration. We've already covered pretty much everything else. The sub EZAs for Vegeta were taken care of a little bit earlier. Golden Frieza has just been shifted out of place so badly that having accompanying events is just sort of hard to facilitate. So these 3 will probably have to do. So in the data download, we'll probably be receiving the assets for the Golden Frieza. If not, we might already have them. No, we don't have them, because if we did, this wouldn't have been a notice. They're going to be changing the background music for the Wicked Bloodline Red Zone. And if they had already had the music, then they would have already done this. So yeah, they're going to be adding the Golden Frieza assets in there most likely. In terms of this Red Zone, I don't think they're going to be adding this. Granted, the preparation period for this one is the same as the Super Battle Road. So either none of these events show up after the data download, or all of them show up, or maybe some of them. I feel like the Super Battle one is more likely to appear, whereas the stages 5 and 6 for Red Zone, I don't think they're going to happen, because JP has yet to receive an announcement as of me recording this video. By the time I do post this, there's a chance they might already get the announcement. So if that is the case, then this obviously means nothing. But I don't know if this is necessarily going to be dropping until both JP and Global are on the same page. And speaking of that, I want to talk about that, because that has sort of been the root of my whole logic behind Global getting Cell and Gohan's EZ at the same time. And that is Superhero Celebration. For me, ever since this whole superhero movie came out, it's always been about Cell and Gohan, right? The fated rematch between the 2 characters that clashed during the finale of the Cell games arc, right? Gohan harnessing his beastly powers, taking on a monster Cell, and overcoming him. So when we got the announcement for these EZAs, I thought this makes all the sense in the world, because Cell and Gohan 2.0, right? This is the 1.0. This is how it all started. This is going to be a joint thing. This is going to be happening on both versions. But folks, surprisingly, this EZA is not a part of the movie collaboration at all. It is in fact part of the New Year's celebration. So I've mentioned this before. How this works, folks, is that for JP and Global, both have a simultaneous celebration that is literally the same for both. And then they have their own separate celebration that happens parallel to the joint celebration. And that is what the Happy New Year celebration is. Now, ironically, both versions of the Happy New Year celebration has pretty much been the same up until this point. Let's actually take a look here. So the movie collaboration, both versions are the same. Dual Dokkan Festival, Dokkan event, story event, red zone, yada, yada, yada. All been the same. This is JP now. JP exactly the same. Same stuff. Oh, so pretty, so pretty, so cool, right? Now we look at the Happy New Year. So for Global's Happy New Year, we had the New Year's Dokkan Festival. We had the Gogeta Broly EZA. And then we had all the other bells and whistles that we would normally have. Now for JP, we take a look. They also had the Dokkan Festival New Year's Step Up. It doesn't show here for some strange reason. They also got the Gogeta Broly EZA, and then they also got the other stuff. So they're all basically the same. This whole celebration has been the same almost entirely across the board. The key difference now is the Cell and the Gohan and the collection of epic battles. Now this, I don't like this. I think this is this doesn't make sense because Cell and Gohan are very clearly a reference to the superhero movie, right? This is their Dragon Ball Z counterparts. It makes sense to put this in the context of the superhero celebration. The fact that it's not is likely the root cause as to why Global has yet to announce these units EZAs dropping on Global. And the reason for it comes from the dates. Let's take a look at the dates for the Happy New Year celebration details. On Global, the login bonus starts from the 1st of January until the 31st of January. If we take a look at the JP New Year's celebration, so shout out to Proton for mentioning this to me because I didn't realize this. Their New Year's celebration ends 10 days before Global. Obviously, that is mainly because they are going to be jumping into the 8-year anniversary, so they got bigger fish to fry. But it is very noteworthy to see that they are 10 days earlier than Global. So in a sense, their celebration is a lot more condensed than us because they have 20 days in their schedule as if compared to our 30. So that being said, that would explain why JP received their confirmation for the LR Cell Gohan EZAs and the collection of epic battles, and why Global has not yet done that, because we still have a little bit more time to spread out the content, whereas JP, they're on a bit of a clock. So that could ultimately be contextualizing why this is happening the way that it is, because in all honesty, this collection of epic battles stems from the worldwide download celebration from last year. Not last year, but the year before, during the Namek Saga. Both versions got it at the same time. It doesn't make sense for Global to not get this. These two units are part of the 200 million download celebration from 3 years ago. That also was a simultaneous thing. It would not make sense for Global to not receive this. I think we're going to get this, but it's ultimately going to be staggered. So it kind of comes back to what I mentioned before, where I said that it's kind of going to be like a Gamma Banner 2.0, where we had the staggered release of the banner. But here, logistically, there's more of a sensible argument as to why. Back then, it was because of the Halloween banner. They wanted to give a little bit of time between that banner and then this one. They wanted to try to take your stones. Here, it's literally because JP's got to get to bigger, better business. They got the 8-year anniversary coming up, so they got to get this stuff going early, whereas Global can take their time with it. So maybe in a couple of days, we could receive the same sort of treatment that JP received for these ECAs. Now, in terms of actual logistics, this shouldn't have been the case. Both versions should have had it at the same time. They should have been mindful of that, because during a simultaneous celebration, they should be very mindful of that fact. Yeah, if the timing is unusual, so be it. But the fact that they're bringing the two versions together, I feel like it is more than reasonable for us to expect them to go out of their way to accommodate the proper timings, but they didn't do it. And the fact that the Gogeta Broly, which has nothing to do with superhero in terms of the collaboration, was a joint affair with Global and JP, there is no reason why they would deprive this from us. So I think this is going to happen. I think it's going to be a little bit later than we thought. This is a key difference that I hadn't expected. I don't think anybody expected the Cell and Gohan EZAs to be part of the New Year's celebration instead of the superhero celebration. So this is definitely a big change here. So hopefully that does contextualize things for you guys. Hopefully that does put your minds at ease a little bit in terms of expecting something in the data download. I don't expect to see anything for the Cell and the Gohan. I think a more likely scenario would be something more akin to the chain battle release window that I mentioned on a previous video. That might seem like the more sensible spot, but again, we don't know for sure. This is all conjecture, because no matter how sure you are in your gut, Dokkan has a great chance to throw you off at any moment. That's their passive, and they are very good at it. So good luck to all of you in your predictions. Let's see who is right. and who is Toon. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below. Let me know in the comments if you guys do like to burn up your stamina before jumping into a maintenance period, or do you not particularly care? And what do you think about this new detail about the fact that JP's New Year is much more accelerated than global? Do you think that this instills some hope back in you regarding these two EZAs ultimately dropping on global, or do you think that global will not be receiving them until some other celebration later on in the future? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more Dokkan content in the future and click the notification bell so that you let YouTube know when to see more of my stuff. Do it. Thanks again. Stay tuned, and always remember to Dokkan responsibly.